many people see your success, purchase your albums, attend your workshops, wear your name brand clothing, and give to your charity? But how many people know your personal struggle, understand your true purpose, or even see the hard work and dedication you put into your passion? It's time to go beyond the obvious and reveal the unseen. I am Carletta McMillian, and this is Beyond Revealed. I am so excited about my guest today. He is the founder of Unplugged, the author of Unplugged, also known as Coach Josh. Josh, thank you so much for coming.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Glad to be here.
I'm so excited to have you.
Well, I appreciate it.
I want to jump into it. I've been coming to Unplugged for the past 2 years on and off, and consistently for the past 7 months.
Yep.
Tell us about Unplugged.
The whole concept of Unplug is helping people unplug from the world or society's influence and plug into Christ. And so our objective is to let people know that whatever you're plugged into becomes your source. Yeah. And if that source fails, you fail with it. But the everlasting source is God, and if we plug into Him, not only will we last, but our purpose will be fulfilled in that manner. But so I started writing a book. Changed everything from the blueprint. Took me about 4 months to write the book Unplugged. And from that, God took me to Africa. God gave me an opportunity through my father to go to Nigeria. And while I was in Nigeria, God spoke and said, I want you to start a Bible study. Didn't have a location, didn't have nothing, but I knew when I got back from Nigeria, it was time to plan. So about 2000, I believe it was 10, is when I started the Bible study here locally in Charlotte. But the concept of Unplugged is much more than just a Bible study. We really want to be effective. We really want to go into all areas of media, entertainment, to really impact the people that was lost or people that was hurt by the church or whatever people are going to, using relevant topics, entertainment, music, and performance to really gather the people, not only to our events, but a close relationship with God. So that's just the elevator speech.
It was good. It was good.
Okay.
Now let's break it down a little, because a lot of people don't know what Unplug is. And for those who don't know, Unplug is at 2 Exalt each and every Thursday. And with it starting at 7.
Yeah, starting at 7.
Just walk me through a night of Unplug.
Night of Unplug. Well, my night or everybody else's night? My night starts early.
I know your night starts early, but
for everyone else.
Yeah.
So 7 o'clock, doors open. We have a social mixer with DJ T. Shout out to DJ T. But DJ T is our DJ at our event. He does the little social mixer between 7 and 7:30. About 7:30, we have someone introducing or welcoming everyone, and also letting them know, mingle, get something to drink, because Josh should be coming up to discuss the topic at 7:45. So from 7:45 to about 8:15, sometimes I might get Baptist, I might go 50 minutes in preaching, but usually I try to keep my message within 30 minutes. But from that point, we have an intermission. Within that intermission, we have a performer that comes up. During that performance, the performer does his thing and all that good stuff, or her thing. And from there, we have our Q&A and discussion. I think that's the most valuable piece of our set, because it gives the people an opportunity to ask the question that they may not have the opportunity to ask on Sundays or wherever they are at it, whether it's at church or whatever. But we get a lot of crazy questions for you. You've been in some of them.
There are times when my desires for sexual activity are so strong as a single man. In the heat of the moment, what are your suggestions for, is that cooling down?
Why are you in the heat of the moment? Right? I mean, why do you even get there? I know when Shelly and I, when we were dating, we never, ever sat on a bed together. Like, it's just a no-no. You don't do that. Wouldn't walk. We wouldn't break the threshold of the door. There's no reason for you to be in that moment. There's no reason for you to be in that temptation zone. And if you are, and your girlfriend or whoever that is bringing you there, she's the wrong one.
I think a lot of times as Christians too, it's so funny. Christians, the modern day Christian is so funny because, and I've been one of them, but the modern day Christian is so hilarious. Instead of, with us, we don't figure out, okay, what can I possibly do to make God proud and happy? we think about, okay, how many things can I get away with before God sends a lightning bolt at 45 miles an hour, towards my, we try to think, how much can we get away with and still be Christian? We don't think about how many things can I do to actually please God? And I think that's a huge thing for us. That's a huge thing, because the reason I say that is because a lot of us think, you gotta know yourself. For you can do this, but I can sleep nude, with my boyfriend. I'm strong. I'm strong. I don't know about you, but the Jesus that I have just lets me sleep nude with my girlfriend. I don't know what kind of Jesus you got, but my Jesus. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, okay.
But after that, we have the ministry element. And the ministry element is where we have a prayer circle, and we ask for people that need healing or need prayer for anything to come up, and we give that ministry touch to everyone that comes.
Now, I know you mentioned the panel,
yeah.
which is very significant and important
yeah.
for that night.
Yeah.
Your audience, the people that's here, they ask gray area questions about porn, masturbation.
Yeah.
How do you relate to that, being that you're a virgin?
Yeah.
How do you relate to the sexual part of their questions?
Yeah. Well, virginity doesn't exclude all sexual activity. So I have a past in my life where I wasn't just clean church boy all my life. There were times where I did things with girls, and you know how that goes. But I relate not through common experiences, but I relate with the emotional element. So if I was once there and I know what lust is and I know how it feels to be watching pornography or doing all those things that goes with that, if I can relate on that level, then they can be like, you know what, this guy's not trying to be this super preacher boy that's never done that in his life, but he says, you know what, I actually have a past. And I think sometimes in ministry we forget that scar element. We don't want to show our scars. We don't want to show that I actually have a sin past, a sinful past. And that's why the pulpit and the audience lose connection, because the preacher's so holy, but the people are still struggling. Like that. And so the people in the audience are like, well, he can't relate to me because he's never struggled. But if I articulate my struggles and how Christ has brought me out of them, then they say, you know what, if God can save that young man, if he can bring him out, then they have hope as well. So when those tough questions come up, I always trying to find a common area where I can say, you know what, I know how you feel. I was once there. I struggled with it, but I don't struggle with it no more. So if I can be saved, not through my own works, but through God, a divine element outside of myself saving me, then they'll be like, you know what, there is hope for all of us, not hope for the church boys or church girls, yeah.
Okay. Now let's stay on the panel for a while.
Yeah, that's fine, that's fine.
With the questions that they ask, how has social media helped you relate to your audience and answer those questions?
Okay.
How has that helped Unplug in general?
Well, it helps Unplug mainly because, Unplug started from the videos at first. I forgot that part in my discussion. From the books, I did about 200 videos on certain topics. So the audience outside of Unplug that's on the internet world is a little bit larger than the local audience. So I've been interacting with them before I even started the local Bible study. So when this happened, most of my videos was Q&A videos anyway. So I was already getting these tough questions already. So when I got into the local element, it was, the only addition to it that may have made a little shake is that you have a live audience. So you have to answer questions on the spot. At least on camera, I can just answer it and cut out what I want to cut out. But social media has definitely played a major role in making me a little bit more comfortable with tough questions, as well as maybe making the panel guests feel comfortable that they don't have to use the church answers, but they can actually be raw and uncut.
And I like your panel.
You like
they're
them?
they're raw.
They're real, yeah.
Yeah, and a lot of your audience base, which is what age group again?
It's all ages.
All ages?
Mostly, if you're talking about the focus age, is probably 18 to 35.
18 to 35.
Yep.
And that
or
ties in.
60.
That ties into my next question. I know you want to branch out and reach colleges.
Yeah.
How are you taking those steps to doing that?
But our focus is to develop satellite location on college campuses, similar to how I guess you would say Elevation does it. Elevation have satellite location throughout the city, but we want to have a game plan where we make the colleges not just locally, but internationally, because we have a more international pool from people from Australia, Taipei. We have people from Iraq watch, Nigeria, of course, my people's country. But the goal is how can we bring university? University by definition is unity out of diversity. Yeah. So how can we take Unplug, package it, and put it on college campuses where we have miniature Thursday night Unplugs on different college campuses and streaming live from this area. But the game plan is to bust them in. Next semester, our first college will be UNC Charlotte.
Bust them in. That should be like a campaign.
Bust them in.
Yeah.
We got to put peace on that. You know, kids don't come out without food, but, you know.
Okay, so we talked about Unplug, what we see.
Yeah.
I want to go beyond all of that. How do Coach Josh prepare?
I like how you put beyond in there, like beyond
Like
revealed.
that.
I like that. That was nice. Yeah.
How did Coach Josh prepare for the Thursday night?
How do I prepare? Well, basically, all of my message, I try to make sure that God gives them to me.
Okay.
I don't ever want to condition or manufacture the message that I give, because each Thursday is different with different audiences. But how I prepare is usually through prayer. I take a day where I fast half a day, just kind of just open myself up so God can really deposit some things.
Okay. Now, I know you transitioned from first to 24/7
Yeah.
to Ephesus, and now here to Exalt.
Yeah.
How was the transition for you?
Each transition was accelerated.
Okay.
A lot of people suggested, especially when I moved to Exalt, they was like, man, you shouldn't move so quick. But as soon as I walked through those doors and I saw this room,
Nice.
I was like, I'm not waiting till January to come in here. So every transition from 24/7, which I was there for about a year, and then into Ephesus Church, every move enhanced Unplugged. 24/7 had that, you was there, that nice feel, but coming from that to Ephesus Church gave us an opportunity to refine Unplug.
Okay.
So each step made us not only more effective, but also more attractive.
Okay, now let's go into your family.
Okay.
Because I know your family, your sisters, and your brother, they sit in the front.
Front row. I don't even got to tell them to sit up there.
I know, like they do it on their own.
They do it on their own.
So with that, how does that, affect you in a positive light, having your family support you?
I mean, the Bible is very clear. No man can lead. How can a man lead a church, or how can a man lead anything if he first can't lead his family? And that resonates with me when I don't have to ask them to come out. When I can't pick them up, they finding rides to get here. So I'm not going to be judged based upon everyone outside of my bloodline. I'm going to be judged based upon how I steward the people in my family. If I can't reach the men in the audience, if I can't reach my brother first, how effective will I be reaching men that are not that close? You see what I'm saying? Or my sisters, how can I endeavor to reach all the women, all that kind of stuff, but I can't even reach my own sisters? And so seeing their hunger, because I don't put the gospel on, I don't try to get them saved. I ain't trying to be like, you need to be saved, you need to be like this. But to see a divine element outside of them, bringing them without my input, really, really touches me in a very significant way.
Well, yeah, and you touch their lives too, because
Yeah.
they see the God in you,
Yeah.
and they see how you're, living your life out. So you don't have to push the gospel.
You don't have to
on
push
them.
it, yeah.
Just live your life.
Yeah.
So I also know that your father came
Yeah.
a couple of weeks ago. How did that come into part? You guys are from Nigeria.
Well, I was born here, but my people's from Nigeria.
So he
Not
came,
my mom though, but.
He came just for Unplugged.
Yeah, it was crazy because the first time my dad ever saw me spoke was in Africa. When I went to Africa to visit, I preached on Good Friday. I think it was Good Friday of 2010. And so he never seen me preach before, and he's a cool dude. Me and my dad, we cool. He's African, so Africans, they all about money, and when they see that, my son is in the ministry, he's not thinking impact of people, he's thinking he ain't gonna make no money. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. So for him to see me in my element and see it in a way where he's like, man, my son actually is doing this in another country, and for him to see that firsthand, he saw not someone that just says, hey, Dad, I'm gonna be a preacher, but he saw someone like, no, this is my purpose. And no matter what, if it's your purpose, money will follow. Money will catch up with you. So it's not about doing it for the money, but him watching my life is showing that true success is not based upon the bottom line or how much money I make. It's based upon how many souls is being reached. And my sisters tell me all the time how he looks at my Facebook and he sees all the comments and he sees all the videos. I think that's really showing him that, this is my call. But to have him see me preaching when he came to Unplug, I think everyone was really inspired by that. Yeah. And for him to see all this ambiance, I think it was real.
What did he say after?
He just said, I was proud of you.
That's what's up.
And so I think that hit home because it shows that, a man who's driven by money or driven by whatever was driven by, God can use his own son to reach him. And I think that's the beauty behind Unplug, is not that I'm reaching the world, but even my family is being reached. So
I
that's
haven't
mine,
heard much about your mother
yeah.
in our conversations at
Yeah,
all.
yeah.
What is, how is she?
Oh, my mom's the
life?
world now.
Yeah, I haven't heard much.
Because you ain't even been asked nothing.
I'm asking now. How's
Okay,
your
okay.
mother?
My mom is great. That's the love of my life. You see what I'm saying? I was brought up in a single parent home, and it was just me and my mom for a long time. So to see my mom struggle, like I remember when my high school graduation, I said one thing to my mom. I said, I'm gonna make you one of the richest women in the world. And I'm holding on to that. Because it was like my mom worked 2 jobs. I even had to work 2 jobs in high school, well, school and work, cleaning buildings. But to see my mom struggle and sacrifice for me to go to private school and for me to do all the things that I'm doing now really made me the man who I am today.
Okay, so I've been looking all over your blogs.
Yep.
And I know that you have a couple of favorite quotes. And I want to go off 3.
3 of them.
And then I want you to give your feedback and
Feedback.
explain them, okay?
All right.
So the first one is, infatuation is blind, not love.
So explain that.
Yes.
I think everyone says the whole concept, love is blind. Love is not blind. Love is patient, love is kind, love doesn't boast, love doesn't envy. The Bible has a clear definition of love. Since we define love in our world terms, we then begin to say, well, this is love. But they say, okay, well, since I'm in love with a person and something happens and love is blind, you can't really see clearly because love is blind. But I say, no. There's a difference between infatuation and love. Infatuation is an emotion. Infatuation is something where it's like, I'm caught up in this mood. I'm caught up in the ambiance of love or the ambiance of attraction. But love says, I actually know the person. I'm friends with the person. Love is like a baby. Love is like anything. It develops over time. Infatuation happens in a moment. I can get infatuated with any girl immediately because if I'm desperately in need of a relationship, infatuation is conjured up. But if I'm patient and content in my own self, love will find me. And when love finds me, it's conceived, it's developed, and it produces. So a lot of people say, well, love is blind, but love develops over time. Infatuation is actually what's blind.
Got it, yeah.
Yep.
Healing happens when habits change.
I got a lot of controversy when I said that because a lot of people will say, people who have cancer, heart disease, people whose family members died, they was like, where was God at then? But I tell people, I say, God gave us an immune system for a reason. God didn't give us a system where he has to be there to heal me every single time. We have to be good stewards over our body to ensure diseases is not there. So when I say healing happens when habits change, that means if you have heart disease, change your habits, then healing will come. If you have diabetes for a reason. You have high blood pressure for a reason. So if I want healing, I have to make sure my immune system is strong. So I need to change my habits to ensure I have a strong immune system. Therefore, that's when healing happens. Now, everything is not based upon diseases that I put on myself, but God did give us a system that's supposed to heal us. And if I focus on detoxing and fasting and eating right, if I focus on the things that are naturally supposed to help my body, then when it happens, I can have healing.
Okay.
Yeah. Not excluding the divine element. God can heal anybody. There's places in the Bible where the woman with the issue of blood for 10 years, a lot of people who had issues that was blind since birth, and some things could not be explained because it was not the sins of him, but it was also an opportunity for God to get the glory. So there is a balance in that statement. So
that's why you got a lot of...
I got a lot of hit for that. But I said, you know what? I'm talking about heart disease. We're talking about the stuff that American people and cultural people in our world today are suffering from because of their own habits. It's not based upon they just popped up with diabetes. Now, some kids do have diabetes. That's a different story. But I think if we really get into how God developed the body, I think we can really find healing within.
I agree.
Yep.
I do.
Thought you about to disagree.
No.
I'm joking with you. I'm messing with you.
All right, last one. Your reason for living is greater than your reason for dying.
Yeah, I guess I did a video on suicide, and there was a lot of people that was asking questions about depression and stuff. The reason why I think people commit suicide or people want to escape this life because they don't have a real reason of living. Your real reason of living outweighs your reason for dying. So people have a reason why I should not be here. Their reason for dying is because their father wasn't there, mom wasn't there. People in India, kids are dying after they get their report cards because they don't have A+ everywhere.
Yeah.
So if you have all these people that's saying, I have these reasons for dying, they haven't found the real reason of living. And the way you find a real reason of living is understand that Jesus gave you an opportunity to be redeemed and saved from your past sins and your life where you was in transgression, but to live a life where you can do things not for your selfish glory, because if you do stuff for yourself, you're gonna always find yourself thirsty. But if you do it on behalf of a greater power, which is Jesus and all that, then I think you'll really find hope to fulfill your purpose.
Yeah, let's talk about author.
Yeah.
You have this book, Unplugged, written by Joshua Ezing. When did you know that you wanted to be an author?
It kind of hit me off guard. Most of the stuff that I'm doing now, I was afraid to do. Because in my past, I wanted to be a professional athlete. I wanted to do all this different stuff, but I wanted to run away from ministry. So the author of myself hit me off guard. I didn't know I was going to write a book until God said write. But the uniqueness about when I was writing, it wasn't like I wrote it. I would be in my computer and just going. Just thoughts, just going. So I knew that this was a divine purpose for me. So the author of me was like crazy that I'm writing a book. I didn't really like English growing up. But when I knew that this book that I'm writing will impact lives, I said, man, let me keep going.
And you have several other books in.
Yeah, I've written 3 books already finished. Well, this book's finished, of course.
Yes.
Another book is already done. The relationship book is about 3/4 done. I have 2 more that I've started 2 chapters on.
So when can we expect to read these
When I get paid to publish it.
It's gonna come.
Yeah, it's gonna come.
All right, give me the concept and what can people
Get from the book?
get from the book?
Well, basically, it's 15 chapters, I believe. I haven't read it in a long time. But I do know my book. But what I'm saying is the most concept is I talk about the things that keeps people connected to this world. The whole concept of the book is to highlight how this world does not benefit you. The influence of this world does not help you. And in the book, I talk about how to unplug from it and really use the gospel message and use Jesus Christ himself as a tool to say, you know what, he came in this world, he's real. Everything that happened about Jesus actually happened, and he gave you an opportunity to unplug from society's influence and plug into him. I guess the heart behind the book is to let them know that God has a relationship that he wants to have with you.
Yes.
He doesn't want you to be bound to this world. He doesn't want you to be bound to pornography, sex, drugs, alcohol, ambition, work, whatever it is, what all of our gods are. He wants you to unplug from idolatry and plug into him. Because when I really made that transition and followed God, all the stuff that people are seeing in my life is divinely scripted. This is nothing that I can do myself. So that's the concept of the book, is to let them know they can unplug from the world and plug into God.
Okay.
Yeah.
And on the back of the book, and I want you to answer this question because you highlighted, if you had only 5 minutes to live, how would you live then?
Girl, you trying to get all deep?
Well,
that was like an Oprah moment. Oh, my bad, a Carletta moment. I'm sorry. If I had 5 minutes left to live, what would I do with those 5 minutes?
What would you do with those 5? Because you mentioned that those 5 minutes, we don't know when our 5 minutes is. Our last 5 minutes could be now.
Yeah.
So what would you do in your last 5 minutes?
My last 5 minutes, I would do this. Not only would I say my goodbyes, but I would think about my life and say, you know what, I thank God that I lived it. And really just be thankful. Because in those last 5 minutes, the only thing I could do is say, God, I'm just glad that you gave me this breath for this long. And I pray that from this moment on, that everything that I've done since 1985 to now will continue to impact the world as I'm gone, as I leave. So that's what I think I would do for the last 5 minutes. Hopefully with some chicken wings or something. Gotta eat something.
Yes.
I'm messing with you.
Thank you for watching another episode of Beyond Revealed. I hope that you were encouraged by this story. Keep in mind, by opening up with others, you will prompt them to open up with God. Stay tuned next week for another powerful interview.